full of fuel, maybe, Larry, because it seemed a little long on the left side.
I saw something interesting there. The tire changer pulls the tire off the right rear, hands it to the jack man, hands it to someone at the front of the car. They carry it around the front, step around the back.
These teams continue to try to find things and do things differently to speed their stops up. Now you're seeing
of 29 points.
Something.
Very nice.
That's going to be tough to beat. Next up, Patrick.
Well, what I whipped up here today is a Texas-style fish and chips. I used the barbecue potato chips as a rub on the fish. I put the salt and vinegar chips into the batter, and
Hi, I'm Robin Bensley. Welcome to Chow Time. The potato chip is the most delicious and most addicting food on earth. It was invented in 1853 at a restaurant in Saratoga Springs, New York called Moon's Lake House. There was a cook that worked there. His name was George Crumb, appropriately. And here's how it happened. He had a customer who complained about the French fries not being crispy enough, and they were just too thick. And he sent them back. So George made them again, sent them back out to the client. The diner did not like it again and complained they just aren't crispy enough. So out of frustration, George Crumb took a potato and he sliced it as thin as he could, and he deep fried it in oil, and he brought it out to the diner, and guess what? It was a major hit. In fact, for many years, they were known as Saratoga chips. Now in 1895, right here in my backyard, Cleveland, Ohio, was the first potato chip company. And then in 1910 in Dayton, Ohio, they started mass producing them at Mike Sell's Potato Chip Company. Now it took until the 1950s before a guy by the name of Joe Murphy, also known as Spud, who owned a potato chip factory in Ireland, came up with the first barbecued potato chips. And since then, you can buy the weirdest things. I mean, there's salt and vinegar, and there's the sour cream and onion, and now you see dill pickle. But did you know that you can also buy lamb and mint potato chips and roast chicken potato chips? And how about this one? Hot dog potato chips. Even though there's all these bizarre flavors out there, I am a potato chip purist. I never eat flavored kinds. I don't eat the kinds with the little ridges in them. I don't eat the kinds especially that come in a can and they're perfectly formed. That seems wrong to me. I just like a potato chip with salt. That's it. And in fact, I love potato chips so much, I do not buy them. At least maybe once a year or something like that, but I generally do not buy them. I save them for vacations. Whenever we take a trip, first thing is big bag of potato chips at the store. And I do have a couple potato chip rules too. When you get the bagged potato chips, you never, ever put them in a big bowl. You eat them right out of the bag. They taste much better that way. Now, of course, the ultimate potato chip is one that you make yourself. I like using a nice Idaho and peel them. You don't have to, but I do. And then I'm fortunate enough to own a food processor with a slicing blade that I can do thin. But if you don't have one of these, you can try a mandolin slicer, or you can slice them by hand too. You just have to get them as thin as you possibly can. So I'm just going to slice up some potatoes. I like to use a very large pot when I fry my potato chips because you don't want to crowd it too much. You have to do it in batches sometimes. And the oil I use is either canola oil or peanut oil. Those are my two favorites. And I only put about 1.5 inches in the bottom. Let's do a little sizzle test. Oh, it's sizzling. I think we're ready to fry up the first batch. So very carefully drop your very thin slices in there, and you'll know when they're done. I'm getting very impatient. Now you don't have to really stir them when they're cooking, but when they start getting brown like this, which is about 5 minutes, you just maybe gently move them around so they're evenly distributed and they cook nice and evenly. Just move them around a little bit. The first batch is done. Look at it, it's a nice medium golden brown. I'm going to put them in a paper towel lined bowl. It's funny, I feel like I'm draining the fat off of them so they're not so fatty. It's practically a health food now. As soon as they come off the fire, you sprinkle them with a good amount of salt because potato chips should be very salty. Then I'm ready for my second batch. Second batch is ready, so I'm going to remove the paper towels, turn them inside out, and put them on top and just add my second batch. And don't forget to salt them. They're best eaten when they're warm, just right after you make them. Oh, and I do have 2 rules about homemade potato chips. They're so bad for you, you should only make them once every 5 years. And you should only have one.